the Tennessee Titans have hired Rand Carthon from the 49ers, their director of pro personnel, to be the new general manager. Might need to do a scout's take on Rand Carthon.
Yeah, I mean, I've followed each other on Twitter for a long time. I've DM'd him a little bit. I don't know him personally. Always heard good things about the guy. I just think that, Adam Peters pulled out of this job, and I don't blame Rand. He's, not the number 2 in this organization, though. I mean, technically he's the number 3 right now, behind. It's weird because Parag has a lot of juice, not necessarily like telling you who to pick, but, he's the brain trust when you're doing a deal is John, Adam Peters, and Parag, pulling the strings. So
Right.
It gets you closer. Now you are taking that job to basically being the head of personnel for Mike to pick the players, which I think he would tell you it's a better job than I have now. Former player, I think played for the Colts when Peyton was there, running back. I don't remember him as a player, but he's been with the 49ers a long time.
Yeah, 2017. Was with the Rams for 4 years as their director of player personnel, not pro personnel. Same thing, different thing. Pro personnel, player personnel.
Pro personnel is just you evaluate the NFL. Player personnel is you're kind of in charge of college and the pro.
I think it's a good job for him.
Did they name him the general manager?
Yeah, it looks like Rap Sheet has said that. I think it's a good job. To me, it's now Schneider came in simultaneous with Pete.
Mm-hmm.
Schneider not come in after. But to me, it's the kind of job where, yes, you're taking a job where the head coach has all the power, but it's also a head coach that has a lot of equity. He's, he should be there for a while. And so if you can establish with that coach, I wonder if they know each other. If you can establish with that coach a bit of trust, then it's the kind of place where you can grow into more power, in kind of the way that, I think at one point in time I looked at John Schneider like he worked for Pete. While that technically may be the case, that's not what the situation is anymore.
I mean, this guy's just, I hear it's a little different though when you come in at the ground floor and you build that thing up. Because remember that first year and a half with Pete in Seattle, they averaged like 2 transactions a day. Like they set an NFL record for cutting guys, practice squad. They were just throwing shit at the wall, seeing what happened. And obviously, I think he'd have to admit this, as John has played a huge role in the success of Pete Carroll becoming, like his run in Seattle made Pete Carroll like a legend, right? Like what he did with USC was like, oh, Pete Carroll's turned out he's an unreal college coach. And then he won a Super Bowl and went to another and then just sustained success because John pounded the table on the little quarterback. And one thing, if he'll do it, and who knows, it's a very, very difficult job for the head coach. One, he needs a guy to do all the legwork. It's just, will he listen to him? Because this guy now has 6 years experience of being around Adam and John and Kyle picking these players and just having a loaded roster. And this guy has, I'm sure, his own philosophical beliefs. I mean, he played at Florida. He played in the NFL from 04 to 06, those are some of the best Peyton Manning Colt teams. Like he was on those teams as a player. And obviously, he's been seeing a lot of playoff games, it's just hard sometimes. Is the guy going to listen to you, or are you just kind of doing the leg? You get a big raise and financially you're called the GM. I'm not saying it's a bad job, but these guys want to you do all this work. Like, can I pick a player? Like, I want to take this guy in the second round, and Mike says, no, he gets to overrule you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it doesn't happen right away, but I would say this too. Like Mike Vrabel has been the coach of the Titans for 5 years. He's doing a good job. He's a good coach. If the Titans fired him for some reason, half the league would try and hire Mike Vrabel.
Yes.
He's 48-34. He's been to the playoffs in 3 out of 5 years. He's won 2 playoff games. It's gone well.
And let's face it, he makes the playoffs this year if Tannehill doesn't get hurt,
Yeah. But they've peaked. They've reached their ceiling in Tennessee. They need something else. Mike Vrabel needs some help from somebody. And maybe it's as simple as find me a better quarterback. Too late to get A.J. Brown back. You can't undo that.
No.
But Mike Vrabel needs some help. Like, he's clearly good enough, but they've peaked. He needs some help. And so I do think if you're Rand Carthon, even though you're not coming in at the ground level, I think you are coming in at a time where you can impact some change, and you can get some
I
equity.
agree.
You can get some equity quick. You're stepping in. It's actually pretty unique kind of spot. Like, they're not rolling, but they're not failures either. They're doing better than they've ever, consistently done as a franchise, probably in a long time at least. But I think you can affect change, and you can hit a couple picks that make your guy take notice. You can get some equity because he needs your help. He needs your help. The last guy got rid of his best player.
As Barrows just tweeted, the 49ers will get at least an extra third-round pick in the upcoming draft and in 2024. So, do they have 3 third-round picks this upcoming year? They definitely have 2. It might be 3. Depending on D'Amico as well.
The other good news, if you're the Niners, you love your guy to get a GM job where he can't hire D'Amico.
Exactly.
Yeah, they have 3.
They had 23. 2, and this is the third.
Oh, wait. Do they have 4? So they gave I think this is the third. They traded a third for McCaffrey. They got a third. This is a third from, I can't keep track of whether it's Sala or Mayhew. They got a third for Mike McDaniel. The problem is they've had to stagger these over multiple years because they couldn't get them all at once. But I think it's 3.